I put together just a short presentation on the oil boilers that we have available for US Boiler. Dave is going to do the gas boilers, the cast iron gas, and then Mike is going to do the condensing boilers that we have available. When you go on the usboiler.net website, you'll actually click on product selection. And when you key on the oil boilers, we basically have 3 cast iron oil boilers. We have the boiler that's in the center is our MPO boiler. It's our high efficient oil boiler. And I'll go through each one individually. On the left is our V8 boiler. It's very versatile. It's available steam or hot water. And then you have the boiler on the right, which is our Mega Steam. And there's a lot of similarities in all 3 boilers. Beckett is our standard burner. So you actually see that some things we do standard that a lot of other manufacturers don't do. Each one of these boilers has a cover over the burner. That actually allows us to bring outside air in for combustion if we wanted to. If you're in a bad environment where you have contaminated air in the basement, we can actually bring outside air in, buying an adapter that will tie onto this cover on the burner. The other thing that we do that's a little bit different is each one of the oil burners actually plugs in. So electrically, you can just pull a plug and you disconnect the burner. So there's some things that we do on our boilers that other people don't do as standard. One other thing, when we look at pricing, they're always comparing the price of our boiler, but every one of these boilers, all 3 come with a barometric damper standard. So using the what we have available, what we provide on our boilers, we actually have a lot of added benefits. Also on the water boilers, if you get a boiler that comes with a circulator, we're using an ECM circulator on all the hydronic boilers. Okay, Judy. The next boiler, the boiler that I wanted to talk about was our MPO. The MPO boiler is oil fired, and it basically is a 3-pass sectional design boiler. And it's our top of the line oil boiler. It has available IQ control system, which with the IQ controls, we can basically add an outdoor reset. We can add a low water cutoff, and we can also add a manual reset high limit if we want to add that to the boiler. Having the features on this boiler, it really gives us a nice packaged boiler that gives you very high efficiency. 87% is the top efficiency. When you get the boiler with the circulator, it's either going to come with a Taco or a Grundfos, an alpha pump if we do our Grundfos, which is an ECM motor on the pump itself. The IQ control systems that we have with this just has the little cards that can pop in and add those 3 options. We're limited on size. We go from 1 gallon to 1.6 gallon. So it's not real large in size if you're looking for a large size boiler. If you can flip to the next. Judy?
I'm trying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't know why it's not moving. There. Did that? Are you where you need to be?
3-pass boiler. We actually have one of the nice features about it is it actually allows you to put in in the return, there's a fitting that comes with the boiler that actually distributes the return water through the sections so that it eliminates shocking the boiler. It's a very modern looking jacket that we have with the molded plastic cover over the controls. It has a swing door. We have integral legs on the boiler so we can adjust them. Barometric damper. And one of the nice things on all of our water boilers, we actually can add an indirect. And we can either do 2 heating zones with the boiler, or we can actually do an indirect and 1 heating zones. And we can add the plug and play IQ cards, which is really a nice feature. The other thing that's really nice, and if you haven't talked to your contractors about it, this boiler is available 3 sizes. We can actually buy a kit. You'll buy the boiler less the burner. And then we use a Beckett NX burner. And on the 147, 189, and 231, using the NX burner on the boiler, you can buy the venting accessories and be able to direct vent the boiler, bring the fresh air in, all without using a power venter. So you can sidewall vent the boiler. So that's a really nice feature. I've used it on jobs. They've been very happy. It actually goes your vent length. You're either 10 feet, 15 feet, or 20 feet. But it really does give you a nice package for sidewall venting the boiler should there be chimney issues. Continue the next. There is a wiring application guide. And if you don't have it, make sure that you do download that or order some online. And basically what it does gives you all your different applications for circulators, zone valves, tying your indirect in, whether it's our indirect or whether it's someone else's indirect, basically goes through all the wiring diagrams. So any contractor that has problems how to tie into the oil boiler, this wiring diagram works out really well. We also have one for the gas boilers as well. In the front of it, there's an index that goes through and gives you all the different types of applications, tells you which page to find a wiring diagram on. Pictured are the IQ controls. One of the things on the IQ controls, the top control that you see is what you get on gas boilers. The module, the IQ subbase, is where we actually add the cards, the 3 different cards that are shown on the slide. That subbase is exactly the same for the gas as it is for oil. So when you had a problem with some of the pins or something in the subbase, it didn't match up. It's the same IQ base for gas or oil boilers. Next. This is where we have a plug on the oil burner itself. So basically it just plugs into the side of the boiler, really makes it nice for service. You want to work on the boiler, you can unplug the burner just like that. So it makes it really nice. That's a really nice feature. The next. I put this in for some of the dimensions. One of the downside of the MPO boiler is it's only rear outlet. So when you connect into the rear of the boiler, sometimes you're going to need clearance to put that elbow and to be able to get the clearance from the wall, clearance from combustibles with your vent pipe. So I do have applications where it may not fit into the particular application. If you notice on the dimensions, the 2 smaller sizes, the 84 and the 115, they're actually the same boiler, just fired at different rates. And it gives your vent sizes on there. But it is a very small, compact, very stylish, nice looking boiler. Next. Oh, I didn't mention on the MPO. The MPO does not have a tankless coil, so you have to add an indirect to it, which gives you a really efficient system. I always tell people if you can get rid of the tankless coil, the summer-winter hookup is what we usually call it. If you get rid of that, you can actually cut your fuel bill about 30% because you don't have the boiler sitting there hot all the time. Our V8 boiler, years ago, it had a bad name because they had problems with sections cracking. Whenever I get a call on somebody with a V8 boiler, and it's an older one of the things I do is I always get the serial number off the boiler. If they're replacing a V8 and they want to buy a new one, and I go on the website and I can actually put the serial number on in an application, and I can see whether the boiler is still under warranty. And some of the older ones, it doesn't matter whether it's the original owner or not. You don't have to give proof of purchase or anything. So everyone's a little bit different. So when you work on the V8s, always get the serial number, and you put the serial number in and be able to see what kind of warranty is available on this boiler. The boiler is not available with the IQ controls we just have a Honeywell Aquastat that's mounted on the front of the boiler. As you can see, that gray box. It is available with a summer-winter hookup. It's available as steam or water. And as you can see from our sizes, it comes from 3/4 of a gallon up to 2.6 gallon. So it's a wide range. And when we get into bigger jobs, I do a lot of times, I'll put 2 small boilers together, and we rep Tecmar, so we can take the Tecmar control and be able to stage and rotate 2 boilers. It's a lot less money than installing a larger commercial boiler. All of our oil boilers come with a swing door, and it's reversible. So you can open the door, and if you want it to swing from the other side, you can switch that around very easily. The next slide. They list this in the installation, not in the installation, but the data sheet. It'll actually go through and give you the standard equipment, the number of sizes, and all the features that we have built into the boiler. This is a top flue outlet, which is pretty versatile when you don't have to worry about the clearances. I can fit it in tight spot, and with the flue coming off the top, it is a nice feature to have. They're also very low height, so they fit into a lot of different applications. We, again, provide the draft regulator with this. And if you're on steam, we actually can put a coil in the boiler as a steam boiler as well. One of the changes they made, we used to offer these boilers with low water cutoffs that are float type, low water cutoffs. We've eliminated that, so they only offer it with probe low water cutoffs. And when you work with this boiler in a commercial application, it requires 2 low water cutoffs, one of them manual reset, and a manual reset high limit as well. So some of this gets added into the piping to be able to add the additional low water cutoffs. And again, if the boiler comes with a circulator, it's going to be an ECM, variable speed circulator. Be careful when you sell the larger steam boilers. They only come in as packaged. So sell the packaged boiler. The contractor can take the jacket and burner and take everything off of it and be able to then get it down the basement without damaging the jacket. The next. I said that we could take our oil boilers and we could bring fresh air in from the outside. So with the Beckett cover that we have, there is an additional item that you buy, but you can actually add fresh air to bring it in from the outside. If you have a really tight house, you have air issues, it's in a confined space, we can bring the outside air in, which is really a nice thing to have. The next. When you buy a steam boiler, if you want to put a coil, if you want to put an indirect on one of these boilers, it already comes with the tappings on the boiler to be able to add an indirect. So even though our indirect is above the water line of the boiler, we can still add an indirect and be able to heat our domestic hot water using the steam boiler and an indirect and have stored hot water instead of letting the oil boiler maintain temperature all the time. Next. We do offer Energy Star ratings on the V8 series. And what they do is they actually give you smaller nozzles. There may be some baffles, but it gets you up to the 87% AFUE. There's financing and rebates that some areas may offer with Energy Star rated boilers. So when somebody wants an Energy Star rated boiler, that's what we do. And these are the boilers that we have available for that. So it's just a kit we'll add to the standard boiler. Next. Again, I put the dimensions so you can see the size of the boiler and the height. The boiler is only 32 inches tall, and it gives your clearances. So just wanted you to know what we have on our literature so that you can see how it'll fit in your particular application. The next. The Mega Steam. Love this boiler. The Mega Steam, when you get it, even if you get it knocked down, all the wires that you see on this picture, they come just that way. So it'll actually come plug and play. So the contractor doesn't have to pull out wiring and wire up the boiler. He just takes the harnesses and be able to plug everything together. It'll come with the insulation that goes around the boiler block itself, and then the jacket starts snapping on. And basically, he has a very easy boiler to put together with knockdown. You can see in the back section, there is a coil. So as a steam boiler, you can put a rear coil in this and be able to heat your domestic hot water with this boiler as well. And it's a 3-pass boiler, rear outlet. Now, I've had boilers that were installed that were practically new, and they wanted to convert to gas. I have converted these with Midco gas burners. If you talk to US Boiler, they don't like us doing that. They haven't tested the boilers in gas, but I would just want to tell you, they do work really well. And the Midco gas burner is a UL approved piece of equipment. And so it works perfectly fine in there. If you look at the pressure the control on the boiler itself, usually most manufacturers provide a PA 404, which is a really inexpensive, inaccurate pressure troll. We give you a really nice one. So they do not skimp on the items that they provide on our boilers. So some nice added features. That pressure trolls probably cost, I would think, $50, $60 more than a standard pressure troll. The next slide. The Mega Steam, it's again a 3-pass design. We can only, it says maximum 50 PSI working pressure, but all cast iron boilers, they cannot operate on steam over 15 pounds. It comes again with the barometric damper. If you put a coil in the boiler for your domestic, it comes with an L4006A. We only are using the probe low water cutoffs is what we have. And you can get a tankless coil. The next slide. I again gave you the dimensions on this boiler. We basically have 2 risers out of the top of the boiler to be able to connect into it, and there's a return down at the bottom. It's a rear outlet. There's clean outs in the back. I can't say enough about this boiler. It really makes it very nice for the contractors to install. The other thing is, Burnham has said we cannot thermally shock this, not thermally shock, we can't oxygen corrosion. We can't run into oxygen corrosion issues with this. The flue actually comes off below the water line. So it actually cools the water down at the top, and it does eliminate oxygen corrosion. So if you have a guy that keeps having problems with holes being eaten through the cast iron right at the water line, I put Mega Steam boilers in. And if we go to the next slide, it actually shows you piping kits that we have available. There's 2 different sizes. The largest size boiler we have, the 629, that's 629,000 square foot of steam. The largest size requires a 3-inch header. All of the other sizes only need a 2-inch header. So we have 2 different size kits, one for the 629 and one kit for all the rest of them. The kit comes with all the pipings that you can come straight out of the boiler and go over into your header, or you can do what we call a drop header. But the piping kit really does make life easy. Eliminates a lot of mistakes for the contractor. It may cost a couple dollars more than him going out buying all the fittings, but it's so much easier. It's all in one kit. I wish we had that for our gas steam boilers, but we don't. But that's what I have on the oil boilers, and it's a really nice offering. Thanks.
Okay.
I'm back on here now, Judy.
Okay.
Am I okay to?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to unshare the screen. Just go ahead and try to share your screen and see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like I can knock you out.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Hey, Roger,
Yes.
is that 222A tankless heater assembly? Is that just a coil?
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
That's the wrong one. I think I deleted my presentation. I can't believe this. I did. Well, I guess I'll have to do the gas another
Look in
time.
your deletes.
Hey,
How do you
yeah,
do
go
that?
in your recycle bin, Dave.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Top left.
Yeah, Dave, you can also search for the file name and it'll probably recover it for you.
Yeah, hold on. I went. What a nightmare.
If I didn't know better, I would think this was a Monday morning.
It feels like it. Cast iron gas shortened. I don't know if this is the one I did.
You got to drag and drop it onto your desktop out of there.
Okay.
Dave, you just did it by hitting restore, so you should
Okay.
be fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, let me see if it's back up there. I'm not seeing it on here.
What was that? Just right there? You were
Oh,
hovering
wait, here it is.
Yeah.
Cast iron gas. See if this. Okay. All right, so I borrowed some of this right off of, do you guys have access to, on US Spoilers website, the resource center? Have you ever been in there?
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff in there. That's where all their literature is kept. And there's also presentations in there. I think I chopped about half of the slides out of this that Dave Hansen had, but this goes over the X2, the Series 3, and the Series 2 boiler. So Generation 3, the newest block on the fire side, they've added some baffling to increase heat transfer, special triangle shaped pins there. On the water side, they've also put some stays or dimples in there to kind of create turbulent water flow that enhances that heat transfer. And that'll let us handle return temps down to 110 degrees. So that's a big deal on gas water boilers, that we're able to handle those real low return temps. We use cast iron or steel push nipples on all our boilers. So some of our competitors actually have elastomer gaskets that hold their sections together. We use mostly cast iron push nipples, which when you think about how a boiler's held together with those tapered nipples, a very tight fit, we want that all made out of the same metal so it expands and contracts at the same rate. And we get a lower failure rate on any push nipples. Roger kind of went over the intelligent boiler control, which is what we use on our X2 and our Series 2 boiler. This has been a pretty reliable control for us. Not super, I guess takes a little getting used to on setting it up. It's not quite as intuitive as maybe some of the controls we're used to on the condensing boilers. One of the nice things, our boilers come accessory ready depending on the model. So we can add an auxiliary high limit if we're going in a commercial application. connection-ready harnesses, so there's some labor savings associated with that. We include the ECM pump, so we're upgrading the pump still over a standard pump. And like Roger mentioned on the oil boiler, same thing on the water. We can do we can handle 2 zones, whether it's 2 heating zones or a heating zone and an indirect. So that may save guys $75 on a circulator relay. Keeps them from having to buy that. We include that with the boiler. So the X2 would be our entry level. It's a rear flue boiler. I think everyone's fairly familiar with that right now. That does have the IHC, the Intelligent Hydronic Control, and pre-installed low water cutoff. And I'm pretty sure that they're only offering that model with the low water cutoff now. I know originally when it came out, you could get it with or without, but the adder was so minimal, and pretty much low water cutoffs, they might not be required everywhere. They're still a very good idea. It's basically an insurance policy. A low water cutoff is actually a probe with a sensor that goes in, and it's mounted right into the boiler, or into the piping right near the boiler. And if there's not water in there, it doesn't let the burner come on. So it eliminates dry firing and protects the boiler from cracking due to dry firing or overheating. The Series 3 boiler, that's a rear flue boiler. That uses the IQ smart control, just like we have on the MPO oil boiler. So that we can add plug-in cards. Low water cutoff, outdoor reset, auxiliary high limit. So we can add all that stuff in, real nice, easy plug and play. And then we're going to talk about the Series 2 boiler, which you can see that's a center flue boiler. It has that mushroom type draft hood on top. So anytime you put one of those in, you got to make sure that you have enough clearance for that vent hood and a vent damper. And then you can put an elbow on and go into your chimney.
Hey, Dave.
One of the things you'll get asked, guys will call you up after they've got one of these and realize that their chimney crock is lower than what it needs to be. And they're going to ask you how much they can cut off of that. I don't know if you can see my cursor. This section of pipe right here. So how much can you cut off of that? The answer is 0. That's an engineered piece to provide the right amount of dilution air and draft to go up your chimney. So you're not allowed to alter that, that piece at all.
Dave, before you move on, or actually that's fine too. I got a question for you.
Yep.
So I got this question yesterday afternoon, and I started digging into it a little bit. But other than the flue location, what is there a major difference between the X2 and the Series 2? Because the specs pretty much line up almost one to one if you look at the numbers, and the price is pretty significant between the two. So
yeah, the price is a lot more.
Yeah.
I have one customer that still sells some Series 2. Most of the ones I'm selling are going in, they're replacements or they're guys that just, I have a distributor that hasn't brought the X2s in yet. And their feeling was, hey, if I'm selling Series 2, why would I want to move them to something cheaper? But not a whole lot of.
Dave, one of the advantages the Series 2 was that when they were replacing a Series 2, it fit right in. But now the Series 2 has the same block as the X2 does. So now the dimensions are a little bit different. So it's not an exact cut it out and put the new one in.
Yeah.
So,
but if
but
you
the
were going
Series
for a
2,
new
one
install, it
advantage is
didn't
that-
matter. I mean, they're
What's that?
basically the same, right? And I couldn't find anything other than flue location, really.
Well, yes. And if you were in a closet installation, you actually get less heat coming around the boiler with that vertical draft hood. So it does help with the draft with that vertical draft hood. But I never push the Series 2. It's always the X2, especially with that low water cutoff. It's so much less money.
And if you guys remember, I don't know, what was it, 6 months ago, they revamped the Series 2, like Raj said,
Yeah.
changed the block to meet the new efficiency standards. It's now called a Series 2E. And like Raj said, the tapping locations changed a little bit, and the physical size of the boiler changed a little bit as well. So one of the new things they did on the X2 for this year is they added a 2-section boiler. Previous to this, this was one of the selling points of the Series 2. It was our only gas boiler that was offered in that lower rating, that lower size. Well, now they're making the Series 2. So now we have the Series 2 and a much more affordable boiler with 38,000 BTU input. So row homes, small apartments where they're putting a boiler per apartment in, that may be something that fits in. And I mean, look, that boiler only weighs 200 pounds. So, but those ratings, the X2, I really like this series boiler. 84% efficient. We go up to 280,000 BTUs, so input. As are just specs on it. We do include the pump. Again, that's going to be the low water cutoff already installed in that, so there's some value built in on that as well. So we're 84% AFUE. Again, some of the extra value you get at the counter, pre-installed low water cutoff, an ECM circulator, the 2 pump relays. We have a built-in draft diverter, and we provide the automatic damper for that. So again, this uses the intelligent boiler hydronic control, the IHC control. Everything is inside the jacket on our boiler. If you look at some of our competitors, their gas train and some of their controls may be mounted outside of the boiler jacket. So we're actually a little more of an appliance look for an entry-level boiler than some of the competition there. Again, the low water cutoff, compared to having to buy that and then install it, you're probably saving, like it says there, maybe 150 bucks, and it's already included. Series 3. When we get into the Series 3 boiler, we go from 70,000 input up to 280,000. So we don't have that real small 2-section boiler. But you can see, again, we're 84% efficient. Specs on the Series 3 again. Now they list the AFUEs from 82 to 85 and 84% without a liner. I'm not sure what that actually, how they're figuring that. I guess if you put it into you could get 85 if you were into a lined chimney, if it was the right size, but you get into larger chimneys, you may have excess draft, and that's going to reduce your efficiency a little bit.
Hey, Dave.
Yep.
One of the things on our gas boilers, we match up with Wall-McLean and Peerless. So we get a 4-section boiler. Our BTU input's going to be 105,000. We get into a 5-section, we're 140, 106, 175. We match up to them. So it's real nice when you're trying to compete against some of our competition, the BTUs.
So some of the things you can see, this is kind of a nicer looking boiler, kind of like the MPO. They've got that more, I don't know, rounded look on the front. Looks like an appliance. Again, the 2 pump relays, the ECM circ is included, rear draft diverter and an automatic damper included. This uses the IQ control. So again, we can add those cards to get guys outdoor reset or low water cutoff or another high limit. Instant status with self-diagnostics. They actually sell a display that you can add on to this boiler. I don't know, has anybody sold any of those or had any customers using them? I really haven't. The IQ control system, so it basically comes with the upper part is the IQ control that you see there. The lower control is what we call the option panel, the IQ option panel. And that's where you can plug in the option cards. So whether you're doing the aquastat, the low water cutoff, or the outdoor reset, those plug in right into that lower card there. Series 2. So you can see again, we're 38,000 input up to 276. So just about the same range on all of these series of gas boilers, 38 to 280-ish. And again, efficiency is about the same. The AFUE rating's right at 84. Series 2, again, we kind of went over this. It's there's your specs on it. 84%. We have that mushroom vent cap up top that cannot be altered. They call it the replacement champion. So prior to the Series 3 and the X2 coming out, there were a lot of Series 2 boilers sold. These things have been around forever. And I think most of the ones I sell are going into replacement jobs. And again, it comes with the low water cutoff. There's conversion kits available that help certain wholesalers may want to reduce their inventory costs. So now with the Series 2, one of the changes they made when they went to the Series 2E is that it's only available in natural gas, and you have to get the conversion kits. I got a little bit of pushback from this from my one wholesaler, but for the amount of propane they're doing on it, I think it makes sense that now you just have one SKU of boiler and you can sell the conversion kit that goes along with that. So our gas steam boiler is the Independence. Again, cast iron sections. It's an atmospheric gas steam boiler. And if we look at, oh, let me back up. Back up one more. I didn't put the specs in on this one, but we actually go from 62,000 up to 399,000. So I've actually sold some Independence boilers into commercial applications, which you got to be careful when you do that because these really aren't set up as commercial boilers. A lot of the extra controls that you need going into a commercial application, there's not a place to add them on this boiler. So the guys have to figure out how to put that in their piping, and that can be a bit of a challenge for them. We're 81 to 82% on this, so not a super efficient boiler, but pretty reliable. One of the things that they've offered with this boiler is an anode rod kit now. So there's an optional anode rod kit that goes in into the nipple port, and that sacrificial anode is supposed to keep the boiler from corroding out. They had some failures on these boilers. I don't know, Roger, if it was oxygen corrosion or they were blaming it on chlorides.
Yeah, they don't want softened water going into a steam boiler. So if there's a water softener in the house, they want you to bring fresh water in before the softener. Don't soften the water to a steam boiler.
There you go. Yeah, it's funny. You would think it would be the opposite, but it's actually water with some minerals in it is easier to, it steams better than softened water. So.
Hey, Dave, we don't have a piping kit for this, but I have drawings. I can send them out to everyone. So we have drawings, whether you want to do a drop header or a regular header, and
Yep.
it gives you the size of all the nipples and how to pipe it up. So
Yeah.
I always hand that drawing out when I'm doing one of these boilers.
I do too. It's yeah, they could put together a kit for it, but I guess they just haven't. But
Crown does.
we do have engineered drawings that list everything, so that's kind of nice. You can give guys a whole list of all the black iron they need to buy to do their near boiler piping. So, and that was pretty much what I had on. And one of the things I want to make sure I threw this on there, that boilercrossreference.com. Again, if you guys are running into, you know, the other day at the office, somebody had called, and I ended up getting the call to cross over a boiler, and I went right to boilercrossreference.com, and it worked out great. So it's really a nice website. They've done a lot of good stuff with that. You can pull up the competition stuff and look at it and see what they've got that we don't. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to see if I can pull up something in this trade price book once. Everybody knows that there's a new trade price book out now. We're on number 200. And one of the things that they've added this year is the X2 is now in the price book. It was not in there previously. So as you can see, they've added the 2-section boiler in. It's only available with low water cutoff. You don't have a choice to get it without anymore. You can order them natural gas or propane and with Takeo or Grundfos. So, but let's take a look at 175,000 BTU input X2, 2921. $29.21. Look at the Series 3, $43.87. Big price difference. Now the multipliers are a little bit different. And now let's look at a Series 2. 172,000, $37.84. So there's a pretty big price difference. There's about $900 between a Series 2 and an X2. And on, about $1,600 between a Series 3 and an X2. So our lower price, real value boiler, that X2 is a very nice product. That's the one we need to be pushing. I'll send out, I just got some information from one of my customers that Weil-McLain made some changes on their CGA and CGI boilers. So I'll send that out to you guys. They didn't change pricing on it, but those boilers weren't going to meet the new government standards. So Weil-McLain did some stuff there, but I'll shoot that out to, I guess, sales at ROI, and everybody will get it. So, all right.
Hey, Dave.
Yep.
Just as a tag along to that X2 that you were just talking about, Avco Supply has really targeted that boiler to go up against the Forest boiler that Ferguson is selling. So he's a single branch location and is in the hydronics business, and he wants to take some of that Forest boiler. Now, obviously, Forest is made by U.S. Boiler, but he's had great success with that X2 boiler. I think the numbers are way up this year.
Yeah. No, it's the guys who brought it in have done very well with it. I know Michael's actually did bring this in, right? I don't know where we were at with Michael's on this, if we've had any success with them or not. I sold some to a couple of my local branches, but they may have picked them up at the factory. Again, this is, and we're talking residential boilers, but like Roger had said on his oil presentation, I've used these X2s in commercial applications. I look at this as BTUs in a box. So if I need 1 million BTUs, I can do, 4 X208s or X209s. I get my 1 million BTUs and, for 3,600 trade price at a 6156 or whatever our multiplier is, that's a pretty expensive pretty inexpensive way to put 1 million BTUs in a commercial application. And when you do that, they're also getting some redundancy. They're getting packaged boilers. They don't have to field assemble sections. They take 4 boilers that weigh 518 pounds a piece down, set them next to each other, pipe them up, and they're done. So, and then your system efficiency goes way up when we do that. So I tend to use a lot of our residential boilers in commercial applications. So don't shy away from that. Roger and I are both here to help you figure that out if you have an application where we can do that. Any other questions on the stuff I went over? No?
Can you send it to me so I can put it on the drive, please?
Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to stop sharing. Wow, there's everybody.
Okay,
Cool.
so that's it?
Yeah, and Mike Young, you were working on a condensing presentation, right?
Yes, I did.
Are we doing that for one of these, or?
I can, if I can share my screen, I could do it. Or if this has been, you guys.
I mean,
let me
you
know.
have something ready to go, or we going to do it at a later date?
Well, Tony has a call coming up at 10:30.
Yeah, it's already 10.
Yeah, 10:30.
All right, that sounds good. I'll do it at a later date.
Okay. Good deal. All right.
Thank you, everybody. I will look at the rules for getting on the call tomorrow and let you know if there's a passcode or whatever we need to do.
I think Raj and I screwed that up.
I don't know how it happened, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. All right. See you guys. Have a good day.
See ya.
All right.
Awesome
Thanks.
presentation.
Thanks,
Great
Rod.
job, guys.
Got it.